Morning, it's XX Guy here, or if you're from the Tenere Forum, it's Tenere Guy. And I've got my Super Tenere right here. And I've got it outfitted. I went to Alaska last year. I had no problems with it. It's an awesome motorcycle. And that's coming from a Honda dude. So, but a lot of people say this assembly, whole windshield assembly, shakes too much. And I'm like, well, I don't I don't think it does, and I've got a V-Stream tall windshield on there. Well, what happened was I got some friends and we're on the back, you know, far back country, and you don't have any cell coverage. So I got tired of them having tablets and knowing where to go all the time, and I just had to follow. And then one time they went the wrong way when I was saying, "Are you sure this doesn't look like the right road?" And they said yes. So we went up, and it was an adventure, but we had to come back too. Anyway, so I got a tablet. Well, let me tell you about this tablet holder. It's a Samsung Active Tab 5 or something like that. I'm not good with technology. Anyway, it's got a lock on it. It's got a good sized screen. I got it mounted where I'm 6'3". I'm looking right over it. Even if I got to get really close, I'll just stand up on the pegs, you know. Now my phone used to be here, and in Alaska it would always come forward like this, and so it was just useless for, you know, real rough roads or 500 miles of gravel road or whatever. Well, I took care of that problem. I got this mounted, as you can see, with an aluminum Ram ball mount. It's not from Ram. It's an aftermarket company. I would have to look at my order history to figure out where it came from. But it's more compact because it's made out of aluminum, so it's a little shorter, so it made this tablet fit a little better. And it also has, you can see right here, it has a Torx Allen key, but it's the safety kind with the nub in the middle, so nobody can steal it. So with that and this lock, my tablet, I'm not afraid to leave it on when I go in to eat lunch or whatever. I don't have to take it with me. Well, just with this here, this assembly, this whole windshield assembly was just fine. But as soon as I put the weight of that tablet in there and went down a bumpy paved road, the thing was just shaking like crazy. I thought, I could not go to central Utah on those washboarded roads, or, you know, rocky babyhead type thing where it's shaking all over, or even up to Tuck, or up to Prudhoe Bay. It would just fall right down on me. So I moved my phone to here, quad lock, and right there I've got a aluminum ball mount. This is right here, another aluminum Ram mount security, and then that will not move on a bumpy road anymore. I've got this brace where it will not move on a bumpy road anymore, except it's just shaking way too much, and it's just going to destroy my mounts, my windshield mounts. So I spent a lot less than a new windshield mount would cost, and I went to the Tenere Forum, to Ladlesport Adventure, and I've got some other things from him. He makes a good protective cover for your water pump. So what comes in the kit? You got 2 braces made out of aluminum, anodized black, 8 rubber washers, 8 stainless steel, and then 4 cap bolts, and it takes 5mm hex to do it. Now I put this infill dash panel, and you can get one of those on the Tenere Forum. There's a vendor that sells them. He's out of Illinois, I believe. And I love this because it reduces buffeting up through here. I can put my switches here or any extra switches I feel like there. And it's just a handy place to have, except you don't have the stock bolts here anymore. You've got these bolts that came with the kit, and they're a nice button head with a 4 millimeter hex, but they're a little shorter. So will they work with this, and the windshield? I don't think so. I might be able to get them to fix, but there it is right next to what Matt from Ladlesport Adventure sent. They're both stainless steel. They're both about the cap button is about the same size. Plus, Matt's sending with this kit all these washers, rubber washers and stainless steel washers. So I'm just going to use what Matt sent because I know those will be long enough. And but if you bought that infill panel and you want to take it off, you haven't moved it in 3 years or 2 years, you don't know what size it is. Well, it's a 4 millimeter for the hex and it's 12 millimeter for the nut on the back. Okay. Oh, and here we have nylock, so they won't, if you don't know what a nylock does, it's got a nylon ring in there that locks it in. It's kind of like a lock nut. So now we're going to do the install. So here's your winglet if you have those. If you don't, you unscrew these for stock or the other ones. And if you're still stock, you got rubber grommets in behind these holes. You just need to remove those rubber grommets because you're going to have rubber washers on both sides with a stainless steel backing washer. So it should be very secure. So we'll get to it. Here's what it should look like when you have it off. So you got here this infill panel, it wants to move a little bit. So if you have that infill dash panel, just take one side off at a time and then remount it and then go put the other side back on. That way you won't have any problems. Now you're going to come up here, you're going to loosen this all the way, take this off, this wing nut off, and then you're going to take this off and you're left with this. So now you have all that off. This is what this is going to look like. And if you don't have the infill panel, then you're just going to put some rubber washers and stainless on either side. We'll show you how to do that later. And you put your winglet back on, or if you don't have a winglet, you just put it back. I would recommend getting a winglet. They make a huge difference. Then up here, this is how it looks. Up here. And like you said, it won't go in these holes anymore. But the tension is enough. And you'll still be able to adjust your windshield up and down when you loosen it because he's got this slotted all the way up and down right here. Now, some people have been unsure about this on the forum. See how this aluminum does not lay up against the thing right here. Don't worry about that. That's part of what keeps it in place when you don't have those holes meshed up anymore, because the nut and everything will push in here and this will conform because it's thinner aluminum, and then that will always keep tension on there once it's tightened down, so your windshield should not move. So we're just going to put this all back together now. So I've got 2 bolts ready to go in, and I put the stainless steel backing washer and then the rubber washer. Now, a little thing, just a touch of class, this washer has a shiny side and it has a dull side. Make sure your shiny sides are all facing out. I know it's a small thing, hardly anybody's going to notice, but just attention to detail. Also, that nut that comes in the kit is a 10 millimeter. All right, so I've got the 2 bolts there. They're not tightened up. I've got it behind here. It's not tightened up. I'm about ready to go. I just wanted to do with this infill dash, it's a little harder to get underneath there, behind here. So I just stuck my hand right up alongside here and it's easy as pie. Put those washers and nuts on. Maybe even if you don't have that infill dash. So I'm going to tighten it all up now and then do the other side. Now Matt doesn't tell you how much to torque these to, and I'm used to using a torque wrench on everything on a bike. But you know what? This isn't that important. What I did was, if you can see here, that's probably too much, but the rubber was starting to deform on the washers. So that's tight enough. Because, I just want it in there, and this thing's plenty tight with those nylock nuts on there and that rubber acting as a tensioner. That thing should not move. Now, if you're really concerned about this little piece right here going in the hole and trying to stabilize it, I've thought you can rasp this down, right? Rasp that down. But first you center punch it so you know where the center is, and then you rasp it down, then put a drill through it, the same outer diameter as this, and then you can put a bolt in there from the back side if you want, and just JB weld it in place. But I really don't think you're going to have to deal with that once it's tensioned and everything. I'll let you know though. Okay, so this is on, and this is a better, you can see hopefully how much deformation I have on the rubber now, and that's probably the better option of the two. Now when I tighten it up, I spin my handlebars that way, and I can reach in here much easier with the wrench. But putting the nuts and washers and everything on, I mean, you can do it from here, but trying to crank your wrist like this, hold on to a little washer, it's kind of tough. So putting the stuff on, I come up from underneath. When I tighten it, I just did that. So now we're going to tighten up the top and check, see if I can tighten it, loosen it, move it, do all that. All right, I tighten these up on both sides now, and it's just the bolt. How come that's just not focusing? There it goes. So it's just the wing nut. You need a little more thumb muscle to put them on there, because remember, this thing will form into shape and keep that tension on there. This thing is rock solid now. I can't even move it. The windshield's got a little wiggle in it, but that's just from the rubber well nut grommets that hold that on. And really, if you're looking at the bike just from the side, you don't really even see them until you start looking. Yeah, you can see these little black anodized braces there and over there, but really, I think it's an inexpensive, excellent fix. Now, you might not need this if you never put anything on this crossbar, but if you put anything on that crossbar, I would definitely go this route. So I've got thumbs up for a Tenere windshield brace, Super Tenere windshield brace from Ladlesport Adventure, and Matt's the proprietor of it. And I think he did a wonderful job thinking this up. And without videoing, I would have been done 10, maybe 15 minutes doing this. If you got a screwdriver, you got to know what size you got back there. But this was really simple to do. So, like I said, I'll give Matt a thumbs up at Ladlesport Adventure. Hope you guys found this useful.